Hello, Scott here. Hope you're well. A few things going on in the markets today, so we'll jump straight into my watch list. A few things to share, a few things setting up right now and later on today, hopefully, and a few things for maybe for setting up for tomorrow. Right. So share some screen. Let's dive into CAD yen. Now, the reason this is on my gold list is because we've rejected this, what seems to be a pretty strong support line here. We rejected many times in the past. And although we had a fair bit of downward pressure, it's been decelerating for the last 2 days. So what does it offer? What does it offer us now then? Well, for start, possibility of a swing trade, although there's very little room to reverse or pull back to the daily 50. So that'd probably be a 1-to-1 if you're lucky. So probably not the best for swing trade, maybe as an SBO. Here's my lower time frames, the 1 hour primary. And on here we can see an SBO would be an option on a break of this trend line. Or the 1 hour 50, or maybe even both. And this is also setting up to be an ABO. If you're familiar with the ABO, advanced breakout, this is looking pretty good for that. We've got a touch up here on the trend line, touch back on this support. I'd like to see a third touch to really prove this level. And if you are going to use this level for an ABO, go to daily and be really sure that this is an ABO worthy support line. There's not really that much in the past looking back on the monthly here. Need to go back quite a long way to 2008 or so. There's a little bit here on 2015. So that's the important part of an ABO, is to make sure that SR line is very strong. But apart from that, it's looking good for an ABO, or we could just wait for an IBO as it breaks the 1 hour 50 and then breaks away, pulls back, and give us a nice little IBO up to 4 hour 50. Somewhere in here, from about here, up to here. Stop loss, but here, somewhere do your fibs, obviously, to measure up your position. But that could be a nice IBO as well. All of those are looking good to me. Swiss yen. So pull back, so don't push it too far. Go for minimum profit targets on your pullback. So Swiss yen seems to be going sideways, and it is. But look what I noticed on the lower time frames. But start here on the daily. We've got a rejection of this level again. It's a kind of a range, not a very well defined one. Reject this level, heading short. But on the lower time frame, I did notice this looking really nice for a CBO. So we've got a wave from these highs, a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. This will be wave 4. It's a bit messy, but that should lead on to wave 5 down to the daily 50, which is a green line. So CBO, complete breakout of the 1 hour and the 4 hour, which is done. Breaking away and pulling back. It's not a very nice clean action. Look at the 4 hour just to get an idea of what that looks like. So the 4 hour, we're breaking through the 4 hour, and it's broken away cleanly and pulling back for the setup. So it looks okay for CBO on the 4 hour. So we like to see some price action pulling back nice and cleanly to the 4 hour and the 1 hour 50. Swiss yen to yen pair, any time of the day, that could set up on a nice clean pullback. Maybe even spring load a little bit, and then play down to daily 50. So that could be nice. I'm not that happy with the price action so far, but should it tidy itself up a little bit and then pull back nicely, that could be a very good looking CBO. Let's go to EuroCAD. What does that offer us? Okay. another nice looking swing entry. Now an SBO would be good, it's a pullback, so a reversal would be okay. It's a pullback, not too far to the daily 50, but the problem is it's high wick. So with a swing trade, a reversal trade, your stop loss would be behind this wick, which is right up here, and your entry should be right down here. So you're not going to get 1% or much more than that. But the SBO would be good. If you're familiar with the SBO and using your lower time frames, you could trim your stop loss maybe behind these highs here. Maybe trim it to about here somewhere and enter. Where would your entry be? Maybe the entry's already gone. Maybe there was an entry about here somewhere. Looks like when you broke this trend line here, it's exploded to the downside. So entry would be down here, or it could have been up here. So probably missed that SBO, but we're still looking good for a potential IBO. So if we get a breakout for this 1 hour 50, clean breakdown, pullback, nice run down to the 4 hour 50. So that's an IBO as well, which should be looking good. We need higher, it's an IBO B. You can see we've had no lower, got a lower low, just, yeah, lower low. No lower highs yet, so this could in fact just continue higher. But the MACD, does that give us a hint that we're going lower? Yes, look at these, from this one to this one, much higher, MACD divergence, much lower on the MACD. So that's hinting we are going lower, but we need some kind of proof for an IBO A. So it's an IBO B, a bit more risky. It may even go back and retest this trend line first, which is often the case, and that will give us a lower high, and then come down and set up for an IBO. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. EuroCAD, that's probably 8 hours away before that sets up. The Euro Kiwi, it was broke the daily 50 briefly, tested the daily 20 a few times, and broken down cleanly yesterday. That's looking like a nice day to go short to me. Oh, here we go, big price move yesterday. We've broken away from the 4 hour 50 and the 1 hour 50. Did we get a CBO selling up? So we've got to look at the 4 hour. Yeah, kind of. There's kind of a little break there, but not a very big one. You could do as this discretionary one if it does come back to the 1 hour 50. The 4 hour 50 is not too far behind, so we could have our maybe fib from there. Lines up with a pivot, the 1 hour here. The 4 hours probably too far behind, and we already had the IBO. So we've had the IBO, the CBO not really on anymore. So I think the best thing now is a pip snatcher, which would be a nice little one-to-one. If the 1 hour 50 catches up, it's quite a way behind at the moment. But if that does catch up, that's looking like a nice little pip snatcher short. Can we take it lower? Well, we've got pretty much clear way all the way down to these lows. But looking at Elliott wave, what do we have? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4. This could be wave 5, in which case we're not going to go much lower. And looking at the weekly, we're pulling back to the weekly 20, weekly 50 zone, so we won't want to go through those either. And the monthly, we're sitting on the monthly 50. So probably just the pip snatch is good. I'll stick with that personally. Euro USD, what do we have here? Another one that looks like a nice swing reversal, but again we've got a high wick, so we wouldn't take that as a reversal. For an SBO, possibly could. There's no real trend line, is there? Maybe there's a trend line there. Yeah, maybe there's a trend line there. That broke, retested. Yeah, it's quite a nice one. So SBA you can also take on the 1 hour 50 break. So if it breaks down, closes down here, you could take that, and you can trim your stop with an SPO to whatever you think is a safe level. Behind these highs, a bit risky. Maybe behind these highs here. Trade down to daily 20 or daily 50, which are right down here. So it could be a nice little SPO. Otherwise, we're waiting for a break of the 1 hour 50. And on the retest, we get an IBO, which we can take short to the 4 hour 50. So there's a few options on there, quite nice. Kiwi CAD. Kiwi CAD looking pretty strong now, breaking through this SR level here, this resistance level, which was reasonably strong, but we went straight through it yesterday. And looking like we're probably going a bit further along today. Let's see what the momentum's like on the lower time frame. Okay. We've got this trend line here, which is reasonable. And you expected it, but it's now breaking down below it. So looks like Kiwi is getting weak. We do have some news. Oh, about exactly now, we have some news on the Aussie, and that often affects the Kiwi. Who knows why, but they often are quite closely related. So the news has pushed us down below, whether it'll actually just be the news event happened less than a minute ago, so it could easily just spike back up again. So it's looking good for a pip snatcher. But the pivot entry has already happened in the wee hours of this morning on very low volume. So that probably doesn't count. If you get a quick pip snatcher entry now, you're going to miss it because by the time, actually no, the 1 hour 50 is too low. So 1 hour 50 needs to catch up to a pip snatcher, so it's not looking great on that. MACD. Big MACD divergence from this high here to this high here. Looks like it is going to go short at some stage. So it looks like it's a pip snatcher from this, but with close analysis, it looks like it's not going to work. Too risky. So I would wait for break of the 1 hour 50 retest and play that short later today or tomorrow. Okay, Kiwi Swiss. Rejection of the weekly 20, quite a strong rejection, pulling down. But on the short term, the daily is looking like we've had we've broken through the daily 20, daily 50, and now we've broken up above it again. So maybe we're going long on the short term, we wouldn't want to go beyond these highs. So this is what the lower time frames give us. Okay, we have quite a strong uptrend. Wave 3, this is the wave 4 pullback. It's probably not a CBO because the 4 hour has not been cleared very well. No, it's not. There's no gap on the 4 hour chart. Right, CBO. I was hoping it was going to pull up and then pull down again, but it seems to have pulled back already because of the Kiwi news we just seen. Okay, so CBO is not on, but we do have an IBO. IBOC, we've already been through the 4 hour 50. IBOC, so it does pull back to the 1 hour 50 if you do a fib from those lows, these highs. And like hot oil the pivot. You also take this as a pip snatcher, quick 1-to-1. I don't think you get 4-to-1 for a hyper trade. Your highs are too close. But pip snatcher or a IBO C, which is with 1 hour catches up. Maybe we'll just dip down to the 1 hour, spring load a bit, and then give you a nice IBO C, which we can take from here up to highs or whatever. Looking like this could be a wave 5 though. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So probably don't want to take it too far. Maybe just up to here. Just a quick 1.3% or something like that. That could be an option. Kiwi Swiss looking okay. Happening pretty soon though, so maybe you won't catch that. Dollar Swiss. Okay, we've got lots of bearish action there. We've had a couple of very good deceleration doji days. Now looking for some kind of uptrend or pullback. So again, this is quite a nice swing trade because we've got the lows and the highs. We could do a swing trade entering above the highs of that candle, stop just below the lows, and you can trade up to the day 20, day 50, and you've got 1.5%, 2%. What was that saying? Couldn't read it. 1.57. Daily 50, 1.79. That looks okay. Might be a quick pullback. Or you could always take this as an SBO. Trend line. Can't really see a trend line. So we'll take it as a break of the 1 hour 50. Nice little SBO. Trim the stop a little bit. Maybe not much. Maybe just below those lows there. And you can play that to here. So it could be 3 or 4% as an SBO. That looks quite nice. Or we just wait for the IBO, break of the 1 hour 50, pull back, and then we'll have a nice IBO. There's a few options there. Looking pretty good. Pull back, before we say just go to the 4 hour 50. Right, good. There's a few more I'll just whiz through, which are looking like they may be setting up sometime later today or tomorrow. Aussie dollar. We had stalling at this level, and then it's kind of broken through further, enough up a bit further. But we've got on here a very strong MACD divergence. So if it does break the 1 hour 50, pull back, IBO short down to the 4 hour 50. Could be on. Could be on for later today or tomorrow. CAD Swiss. Another nice looking swing opportunity. Could take that as a swing trade long, or to wait for the IBO, 1 hour 50 break, IBO break, retest, take that up to 4 hour 50. That could be playing up later. PB Yen. We've got a lovely doji candle on the daily 50, a couple of bullish days, so I'm looking for another bullish day today. A little bit messy here. We've probably got a MACD divergence against this. We do a bit on the last high, MACD divergence. So I might want to come back just a little bit. So if he does pull back, then that's fine. You could trade that as an IBO short. I can retest the 1 hour 50. But if it does find some strength and make a higher high, let's go that high, just a higher high, just to break that MACD divergence, give a higher high on the MACD as well. Pull back, the 1 hour 50 catch up, could be a nice little CBO going long. So that's worth watching. Kiwi dollar. Very similar to the last one. It's breakthrough this support level, resistance level. Just if we're going short again, like we originally planned, or have we got something on for a long trade? Well, here we do have a massive MACD divergence. Looking like we are going short, so break this 1 hour 50, retest, IBO short. Dollar CAD. Okay, we have a level here, presumably. This wick here. So we could have, maybe this is a strong level in the past. Stalled there. It goes through a lot of price action further back, so there's probably something there. So looking for a quick pullback play. What will we get? So it's flirting with the 1 hour 50, hasn't really broken it convincingly yet, so we need to see a break and retest the 1 hour 50 and a quick IBO long up to the 4 hour 50. So that's good. Possibility for later. And dollar yen, last one. Similar thing, stalling on a strong support level. From here, been stalling for a couple of days. Now we're looking for it to quick pullback play to daily 50. We've had no real IBO. So we're waiting for a break of the IBO, break of the 1 hour 50 for an IBO, break, pullback, IBO long to the 4 hour 50. That could play out soon as well. Okay, so a few things on for today. Have just something all set up for you. and good luck in the markets. I hope you found that useful, and I will speak to you tomorrow with tomorrow's watch list. If you're a member of Pro Trader, fantastic. If you're not, then you can learn these strategies and plenty more as part of Pro Trader. There's a link in the description, scottprotrader.com. Go there, sign up, and you'll get free 3 hours plus of training to teach you a lot about Forex training in general and some of these strategies. So lots of excellent free information available to you. Wish you all the best. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care.